Hey guys, this is Z here with Jen, and we are relaunching our new coach training. And when I thought about all of the information as a new coach that you have, and all of the different activities that you're going to want to do to have a successful business, it really comes down to why you're going to do these activities. And that has to start with your goals. And sometimes goals sound easier said than done, but not just having a goal and completing the goal, but how do you even come up with the goal in the first place? And Jen is someone, as I've worked with her for the past 3-4 months, has set goals and has consistently hit and reset new ones very quickly. And I think having her take this call is going to give you guys perspective from a newer coach that's making things happen when it comes to her business. And I really think it comes back to she has a very solid process when it comes to goals. So I'm going to hand it over to Jen. I suggest you guys get out some paper because you're going to want to take notes. And I'm assuming there's probably going to be some things that you're going to want to write down for yourself. All right, guys, here is Jen.
Thank you, Z. Hi, everybody. I'm super excited to share one of my most favorite subjects with you guys. And like she said, you'll definitely want to have a pen and paper because I feel like I have a lot to cover, but I think a lot goes into goal setting. And I'm excited to share with you guys things that work when it comes to goal setting and the things that can prevent you from reaching your goals. So I'm covering a little bit of both, and I made it in a format of how to set your goals, what type of goals to set, how to break it down, and then I am going to close with your plan of action because I think that is probably one of the most important things when it comes to goal setting. So did you guys know that only 3% of the world actually set goals? So just by being on this call and learning more about goal setting, that sets you apart from 97% of the world. I thought that was pretty cool. I actually read that this morning in my personal development, and very unique. I've also heard that they say when you write your goal down, you have an 85% higher chance of achieving it than when you don't. So the first thing I want to cover is what type of people are typically the super achievers and why they reach their goals. I'll share with you some of the tips that I've learned along the way with goal setting. And then I want to go over exactly how you can break down your goals so that it doesn't feel overwhelming. So the first thing is, I know you guys all have goals, all different levels. Some of you are in this business because you want to do it for something fun on the side. Some of you guys are doing this part-time to bring in anywhere from a couple $100 to $1,000 extra a month. And then some of you are really wanting to take it all the way and do this full-time. And so what I'm going to do is try to show you guys how you can break down your goals in each level that you are, because no matter what level you are, you still want to have a goal. Like whether you have a big goal or you have a small goal, you're going to get a lot more accomplished when you have goals set and you have them written down. So the two common traits of super achievers are, number one, an unyielding commitment to constant learning. And then number two, they have clearly written goals that have specific plans laid out to achieve them. So like Z said, I've been on this team for about 3 months now. And I would say one of the reasons that I've been able to set goals and reach them is just my first few weeks, I went through a lot of a learning curve of thinking, okay, I've been in a direct selling before. I've done it for 10 years. There should be things that I should know what to do. And I kind of went through a lot of stuff of not understanding why I couldn't figure out all of this. And what I decided was I just have to treat this completely new. Like, even though I've had experience in sales, even though I've worked with people, like I have just got to be like this sponge and just really dive into learning, but also action. Because what can also happen is people get on the training side of things and they just want to train, and they're not putting what they're learning into action. So the first thing was, I was like, you know what? Z's gone before me. She's had a ton of success. She's moving really quickly. She's taking her team to elite. So I'm just going to trust the process. I'm going to be too dumb to doubt. I'm just going to do what she says. And also, a clearly written goal. So I knew coming in that I wanted to do this full time. I knew I had asked her, you know, what type of levels, what is a good timeline of achieving the goals that I had as far as becoming a diamond coach and moving up to 1-star diamond and moving up to 2-star diamond. So we had sat down and we made really clear, specific goals with a timeline. We were actually talking last night, and something was brought up when I was talking to one of my newer coaches, because she is about to be a diamond coach as well. And when we had talked about setting her goals, I had asked her when she wanted to achieve her goal. And initially, she kind of gave me a date that was a little further out. And one of, I think, the most important things that I want to share with you guys, and I loved reading your feedback, by the way, that Z had put out there the other day on Facebook, and all you guys sharing your goals and maybe some of the things that might be holding you back from setting bigger goals. And so she had given me her time frame, and I thought about it for a second, and then I said, you know what? Here's what I believe. If you have a goal and you set it too far out, it's actually going to be a lot harder to achieve it than if it's faster. So something I've always told myself is faster is easy, slow is hard. So for example, let's say you are a new coach, you're either a emerald coach or you're about, your goal is to be diamond. When it comes to achieving diamond, when people come in and they get a challenge pack, they're technically active for about 5 weeks. And so if you're setting your diamond goal for 3, 4, 5, 6 months from now, what might be happening is you're adding people to your team. Some are staying, some are working it, some are not, and some are just doing it for fun. You have people all different levels, but if you're taking too long, they're going to be going inactive, and you'll just feel like you're just constantly rebuilding. And so if you can do it faster, it takes the same amount of effort, and it's way more exciting anyway. So let me go over with you guys the reason I think that people set goals and they don't achieve them. So what will hold you back from achieving your goals? Because you've probably had goals that you've set in the past, and you've written them all out, you're so excited, you're like, all right, we're doing this thing. And then for whatever reason, you set it, you get really close to it, and you just keep hitting that goal. So here's maybe some of the reasons why that method hasn't worked for you, and I want to share some things with you that hopefully will help. Number one, what is your why? Do you have a strong why? Do you know what is the reason you decided to be a Beachbody coach? Was it to bring in extra money? Was it for fun, for friendships, for travel? Was it just like the fun money, the shopping? Was it for you to get healthy, to get fit, to get in shape? I mean, there's so many different reasons that people join this, but what was your why? Why did you decide to do it? And think of things even outside of Beachbody, because you want to always have a really strong motivating factor that is your why factor, something that no matter what, whatever your goal is, like you're not stopping because that why is so strong. So here's the reasons why most goal setting fails. So I'll talk about like the not so exciting stuff first, and then I want to wrap it up with the way more exciting. Okay, so number one, you make a goal list and it's kind of like a wish list. So you're just like, oh yeah, I would love to be a diamond coach by next month. I'd love to be elite by spring. You know, you're just kind of writing things down like, this sounds really cool. It seems like it'd be really exciting, but you're not, it's just like you're writing it down, and then you're like, all right, let's go. I hope it happens. You don't really have a plan. You're just writing it down. The second reason is your goals are as clear as mud. Like literally, they're not clear. Like you have goals, but you're not quite sure what your goal should be. You're a little confused at how everything works. And so you're just kind of throwing things out there. I don't know. It's kind of like the saying, like you throw spaghetti at the cupboard and you hope it sticks. That's how you are with your goals. You're just like, well, I guess it would be cool to lose 10 pounds, or I guess it would be cool to add someone to my team in the next few months. That would be nice. It's very vague. The third reason is it's all talk. So I've had people come to me and they say, you know, I don't feel like I have a lot of support. You know, my family's not really supporting, you know, this thing that I'm doing. I'm a little nervous about, you know, if I'm going to get a lot of support with it. And one of the conversations I had with someone that really kind of was eye-opening to me was what we realized was they were talking too much and doing too little. So it becomes all talk and no action. You're writing everything out on Facebook. You know, here's what I'm doing. Here's my business. I'm so excited. Here's my goals. You know, here's my next challenge group. Like, you're just constantly talking, and you're around your friends and family, and all you're doing is just talking about, you know, Beachbody and them being a part of your group, and just talk. But they don't see action. Like, are you the best version of your product? Like, are you doing the workouts? Are you drinking your shakes? Are you eating clean? You know, people are watching, and they want to know that they can trust you. And if they feel like you're just talking because you're in this just to get rich, they're not going to want to be a part of it. And the last thing is actually lack of support and reinforcements. Now, this would be within your team. So you want to make sure that you are being proactive rather than reactive. And, you know, support meaning you're plugging into the new coach training. You've gone through the virtual training, you're plugging into the weekly calls, you're making sure that you're being proactive to being a part of the things that Z is putting out there for you guys. Because if you're not, and you're just trying to do it all on your own, it's going to be way harder for you. You're just going to make, I think, the whole thing just way more complicated. So, you know, take advantage of everything that is here for you, because if you do, like, there's no reason why you can't be successful. Okay, so I think we talked a little bit about this earlier about setting a goal that has a quicker time frame rather than a longer drawn out time frame is easier. And another thing is people are afraid to set big goals because they're afraid, what if I don't make it? You know, it's kind of scary. Like, you think of a goal, like when I first set my goal of diamond, my stomach was a little like, oh my gosh, you know, just because the timeline was so quick, you know. And it was a very sense of urgency, and it worked out, I think, really good, because in order for us to be elite, like, I couldn't just say, oh, I need to be diamond by January. Like, we had to get it done before November 23rd. So it gave me that sense of urgency to make it happen. But you don't want to be in the play it safe type of goal setting mindset. And I think that is a huge mistake that a lot of people make, is they're like, you know what, I'm just going to set goals that I feel like I could achieve. And they never get out of their comfort zone, and they just set really safe, comfortable goals. And what will happen is if you set small goals, you're going to get small results. You're never going to get to the point where you're reaching any of these big goals because you keep setting such small goals for yourself because you're afraid to fail. But something that I learned through the process of going towards diamond was, it's not failing if you set a goal and you miss it. So my first goal for diamond, I think, was to do it by October 31st. I did not make it by October 31st. It did not make me a failure because I set that goal and I missed it on October 31st. What would have made me a failure is if I did not reset the goal and keep working towards it. So I think that's the biggest mistake that people make, is they set a goal, they miss it, and they think, oh my gosh, I'm such a failure. Like, I don't even know if I want to go for this ever again. Like, everyone's going to think I'm, you know, crazy. And they're just so hard on themselves, instead of thinking, like, you're not failing because you missed the goal. Just reset the date. Like, don't change the goal, reset the date. And because I set that first goal in such a quick time frame, because I think when I said it, it was like October 5th or something, like it was like 4 weeks. But because I did that, I ended up hitting it in November, I think 11th. So it got me there a lot faster. So think big, you know, set big goals. It takes the same amount of energy to reach a big goal as it does to reach a small goal. Okay, so another thing that I wanted to share with you guys is like a little checklist for how to set a goal. And then I also want to go over SMART goals. I know Z had asked you guys if you had any idea what SMART goals meant. And so I kind of want to break that down a little bit for you guys of like what your goal should be. And I think it's really important to have a income goal. So like, how much income do I want to be bringing in on a monthly basis with my Beachbody business? I think it's really smart to have a team building goal. How many new coaches do I want to add to my team? And that goes along with like a rank goal. You know, do I want to move up to Emerald? I think the smartest thing in the whole wide world would be to make a goal. If you're completely brand new and you just joined this team, make a goal to be at Emerald within your first 2 weeks. I think that's totally should be the norm on this team. And I also think that the norm should totally be to break my record of diamond in 6 weeks. If I can do it, you guys can do it. Believe me, I promise you. Okay, so here's a little checklist for goal setting. Number 1, we talked about this earlier. Don't just think about it, write it down. So get out a piece of paper tonight after this call, or even right now, and just start jotting down all the things that motivate you and excite you. Could you get excited about bringing in an extra $500 a month? Could you get excited about going on a little vacation in the spring? You know, just whatever things excite you, like what are some of your goals, and write them down. Do you want to move up the career path? Do you want to build your team? And what level do you want to be? I don't know if you guys know this, but all diamond coaches get to go on a trip with Z in Lake Tahoe, I think in March or April. That's just for diamonds. Like, diamond coaches get to go on this girls' weekend trip. She's renting out a house in Lake Tahoe. She sent me pictures. It's absolutely breathtaking and gorgeous. Like, you guys have to be there with us. And so write down all your goals. The second thing is, we talked about this. So I want you to think, if you knew you could not fail. So don't think of, okay, what are the things I think I can do? What are the things I feel might be easier rather than hard? I want you guys to think big. Like, if I knew I could not fail and all my friends said yes, if I reached out to everyone, they all bought challenge packs, they all joined my team, wouldn't that be awesome? What would you do? Like, if failure wasn't an option, what kind of goals would you set? Number 3, I don't know if you guys have heard about this before, but affirmations. Okay, they seem kind of cheesy at times. You write down as if you already achieved the goal, and then you speak it out loud. So, for example, when I was working towards diamond, I wrote down, like, I am a diamond, I am a Beachbody diamond coach. I also imagined every Monday on the National Wake Up Call, they announce all the new diamonds each week. And so I visualize, like, Jen Huston, brand new diamond coach. So visualize it and then speak it, whatever your goal is. Like, I'm so excited because right now I've achieved the level of diamond coach, or I am making a full-time income working my Beachbody business. Like, whatever your goals are, write them down in I am statements. Okay, so not only just write them down, but every morning look in the mirror and say them out loud. Okay. So I remember when I first started doing affirmations, and I'm like, Carter's going to hear me and he's going to be like, what in the world is wrong with you? Because I'd stand in the bathroom and I'd say it out loud, and you feel like really dumb saying it out loud, but I promise you it works. Your brain doesn't know the difference between truth and a lie. Like, it has no idea. So even though you might be saying things that haven't even happened yet, if you say them every day, eventually they're going to happen because your brain goes into overdrive to make it happen. The next thing is to make sure that you are not afraid of the struggle. So without struggle, there is no progress. And I've seen people set a goal, and then I've done it myself. You get into a few days, a few weeks towards the goal, and it starts getting hard. Maybe in the beginning, you're reaching things really easily. You're doing the things that are exciting you. You're selling challenge packs, you're adding coaches, and then you hit, a couple weeks in, and all of a sudden, like, everyone is like, no thanks, not for me, not a good time, I don't have any money. Like, you just feel like you've hit that wall. And it does not mean that it's not for you. It does not mean that you're doing something wrong. People see that, they're like, well, maybe it's not for me, or, maybe they said it would be easy and now it's not. But anyone that has reached a high level of success has had struggle. Like, we all have to learn how to get through struggle, because if you don't know how to get through struggle, like, first of all, I think that in the moment it sucks. You're like, this is really painful and I hate it, and you want to cry, and you're like not having fun, and it's not fun anymore at all. But when you get through it, like, the reward is so much more exciting. Like, if it was just like smooth sailing, you made it to your goal and like it was blissful and amazing, like, I don't know, I don't feel like it even sounds that exciting when you share it with others. You're like, oh yeah, I set a goal. Like, if I was like, oh yeah, I set a goal of diamond for October 31st and I reached it and it was great and everyone said yes, and diamond's easy. People would be like, okay, good for you. But instead I can share with them, like, okay, I did have times, moments of doubt of, can I do this? Do we have enough time? Like, what if I, don't achieve it. And, I went through all that head stuff, but I also kept reminding myself, like, struggle is part of the process, and I just have to learn how to push through. So personal development, like your vital behaviors are key for sure. And that goes to the next one is like, you got to abandon limiting beliefs. Okay. So we grow up when we're young kids. The only fear they say that a baby has is a fear of falling and a fear of loud noises. And every other fear that you have is something that you learn from like along the way. Like, it's not a natural fear. It's just something that we've created or something we've seen or something we've learned. And so everything with goals and with struggle and with excitement and all these things, it's all like mindset, and it's all learning how to create a new belief system. So like, if you grew up in a family that was really negative and you're surrounded by a really negative environment, you're probably working a little bit harder now to make sure that you're positive and around a positive environment. And so limiting beliefs would be like, I'm not good enough, I don't know if I can lead a team. I had a coach ask me today, like, I'm so new, like, how would I lead a team? Like, I don't even know what I'm doing. And I was like, that's perfect, because people love to be on a team where, I think it's kind of fun to be with one of my friends. If she's learning as I'm learning, I'm like, hey, we can learn together. It's a great support system. And they understand you're new. Like, they're not expecting you to be like perfect. And also, sometimes if you're so high up and you're so perfect and you know everything, like, no one's going to relate to you, and they're going to have a hard time wanting to be a part of something you're doing, because they're always going to be comparing themselves to you. Okay, so SMART goals. So if you guys have never heard of SMART goals, let me share with you a little bit about what they are. So I'll break it down. Like, I'll tell you guys what SMART goals are, and then I'll give you like an example of how you would break it down. So a SMART goal is, number one, specific. So extremely specific. So let's say I'll use me as an example. I was like, okay, once I learned the ranks and what everything meant here, I was like, okay, Z, my first goal is a diamond. Or when I was brand new, my first goal is emerald. And so she was like, okay, great, that's awesome. When do you want to achieve that by? And so I set a goal, which was emerald. And emerald means you have 2 coaches under you. So I set that goal, and then I set a date. So it was specific with a date. So my goal was to be emerald in my first 2 weeks, and that's all I focused on. Another thing too is sometimes people set too many goals. They'll have like 18 different goals that they're working towards, and a confused mind does nothing. So I think also it's just like, break it down into bite-sized pieces and then work on one thing, going towards that goal at a time. The second, so SMART is, S is specific, M is measurable. So make sure that you are not setting goals so small that it's like super easy to achieve, but then you also don't want to set like goals that are way far out there, like just crazy, that you're going to completely overwhelm yourself. For example, if I was like, I'm going to be elite in 2 months, like, I mean, maybe you could do it, but it's just like a little, like, you want to have goals that are measurable goals. The third thing is attainable, which kind of goes along with measurable. So, and you can talk to your coach about, as far as like, I have people that are like, okay, here's my goal, what are your thoughts? And then I can say, okay, you know what, let's maybe scale it down. Or, you know what, I really think you're thinking too small. It's very rare that I tell them to scale it down, because usually it's like, I want to do this, and it's like a few months out, and I'm like, no, like, we need to make, let's think a little bigger. So the next thing is relevant. So does it align with your core values? Are you setting a goal that is something that's important to you? Or are you setting a goal because you think it sounds good? Like, I think I'm just going to say this so that I sound good on the team call, or maybe, my coach thinks that this is a goal I should do, so I'm just going to tell her that's my goal. You want to make sure it's a goal that's relevant to you, and that's something that you're excited about. And then the last thing is time sensitive, so timeline. You want to make sure that you have a date set on that goal, and also the moment you set that goal, you set that timeline. Let's say you get to that date and you're not quite at your goal, reset that date extremely, like, as fast as possible, set a new goal. So that's how you set a SMART goal. So we'll break it down again. My first goal was emerald in my first 2 weeks. So I set it. I didn't make it in my first 2 weeks, but I think I did it in like 3. No, I think I actually did. I can't remember. So I did it within my first few weeks, was Emerald. And then the second goal was to be Diamond, and that was in the beginning of October, and I wanted to be Diamond by October 31st. So I set that, and I worked towards that. And then I broke it down. So Diamond was my month goal, but then I was like, okay, well, that's cool. Like, how many people do I need to be Diamond? So to be a Diamond coach, it's 8 personal coaches under you, and then 2 coaches under you that have gone to Emerald. So we have a chart, I had a visual, and I broke it down so that I knew if I want 8 people on my team, like how many people do I want to be adding a week? And then I also broke it down to like how many people do I want to be sharing the opportunity with a day? And the bigger goal of 12 people seemed like, oh my goodness, that's a lot. But when you broke it down by the week, it came down to reaching out to 26 people a day and making sure I set up a new coach call with 1 person a day. So like it was very achievable, very doable, and a really good like daily focus to do that. So, okay, so plan of action for your income goal. It's a goal. The call to think about what is your plan of action, what excites you, what goals bring you joy, what could you get excited about ending the month of December. I love that it's December, that you can celebrate your goal on New Year's. Like, I think that's so awesome. So what is something that would excite you in these next couple of weeks? How much money would you like to bring in? What rank would you like to be celebrated come January 1st? We want to recognize you. I love recognizing my coaches. I love helping them move up the career path. I don't know if that's what you guys call it here, but you know, and so we want to be able to recognize your goals. So number 1, figure out what is that goal that you want to achieve. A key when you are watching training and you're going through stuff like this is, you know, sometimes you're taking in a lot of information and you're learning a lot of new things. And the best thing you could ever do after getting on a training and learning about something new is to, within 24 hours, immediately put into action what you just took away. So this is your plan of action. Jump off the call. You're going to find out, what is my goal? What excites me? What is the date I want to achieve it by? You also then want to reach up to the coach that brought you on and ask them, like, okay, what are your thoughts? Here's my goal. Here's when I want to achieve it by. And they can help you map out the plan of action. So we can help you guys break it down. Whatever your goal is, we can break it down for you. The other thing you want to figure out is what you're going to need to get there. Meaning, if it's a rank goal, how many coaches am I going to need? If it's an SC, Success Club goal, and I'm sorry, I totally didn't even mention Success Club. So being brand new, Success Club is when you bring on at least 3 new customers a month, you hit SC 5. And then when you bring on at least 5 customers a month, you hit what's called SC 10. And you can earn a trip every year by hitting Success Club each month. You can also earn recognition and rankings and all kinds of amazing things. And I'm sure we'll be talking more about it on future calls. But, you know, make it a goal minimum. I think the norm for this group, I mean, we have such an amazing team and so many big thinkers and so many people that are, you know, setting goals for themselves that I love seeing and so exciting. And I really think the norm for this team should be like SC10. Like, seriously, it's 5 customers. Like, we could totally do that. And I think when you stretch yourself, and because you might think SC5, oh my gosh, like, how could I bring in 3 people, let alone like 5 new customers? Like, the thought of it might scare you. But if you set yourself a higher goal, you'll probably end up in between or at that goal. Whereas if you just set your goal for 3 new customers, you might add 1. So I always like making your goal, I always think it's smart to make it a little bigger. Okay, so write down, what is your goal? When do you want to achieve it by? Reach out to your coach. They can help you map it out. Or you can even post on the coach page. That actually might even be a better idea, is jump on the new coach training. And actually, that is what I want you guys to do. Jump on the page. State your goal, when you want to achieve it by, and then everyone can kind of help each other as far as mapping out. I think probably there'll probably be a lot of similar goals. So what will be cool is then we can kind of give you guys a good little time frame and a plan of action. Really, if you just do everything that you're learning on these new coach calls, you'll get there. Like your vital behaviors, inviting every day, setting up a new coach call every day, doing your personal development, plugging into training, those are all going to help you get there. So what I would say is keep plugging in like you have, keep reaching up to the coach that brought you, be proactive rather than reactive. Don't wait on the person that brought you in to just every day reach out and say, how are you doing? Is everything okay? Be that proactive person. Like, you're going to be so much more successful if you're proactive. And also another thing that I think is really beneficial too is, let's say you have a question. You're like, just anything about your business, like, how do I add a customer? How do I bring on a coach? Or what do I do to send them a link? Like, we have all these questions when we're new. We're not exactly sure how to get there. The first thing I would do before you actually reach out to your coach, because I think what's really amazing is when you can learn to be extremely resourceful and see if you can figure it out before you reach out. So either jump on your coach office and go to FAQ, and you can just type in your question and things will pop up. YouTube, I do that all the time. I'm like, how do I tell someone about Shakeology, or what's in Shakeology? Or, on the coach FAQ, it's like, how do I send a link? Like, there's so many things right there on those questions that you can find out. And if you go there and you don't find what you're looking for, then reach out to your coach. We're 100% here to help and support you. But I think it's good to kind of learn how to navigate the sites anyway, and to learn how to be resourceful as well. Check out Z's website, check out the team page on Facebook. Like, there's a lot of resources available to you guys. Okay, so let's see, making sure I had written down some notes. I think that was pretty much everything. The last thing I'll say as I leave you guys is, there was a quote I wanted to, of course it's not in front of me right now. Okay, that's okay. So, but the last things I want to say is, whatever your goal is, make sure that you are 100% like all in towards that goal, and be willing to fight for it, whatever it takes. There's going to be obstacles, there's going to be struggles, there's going to be bad days, there's going to be really exciting, amazing days, but no matter what, like, don't give up. I see so many people that will set a goal, and when it gets hard, like, they're literally like so close, it's like right on the other side, and they give up right before they hit that goal. So don't give up. Be excited for your goal, be bold, make sure you are sharing with people what your goal is. I think the best way to stay accountable to whatever your goal is to put it out there publicly and tell people, putting it out there on Facebook. There's nothing wrong with telling, family or friends what your goal is. But like I said, if you're talking a lot, make sure you're taking action on it. And then check in. I love when I hear from my coaches and they reach out to me in the morning. They're like, all right, Jen, here's my plan for the day. My goal is this. I want to reach out to 15 people, and I want to follow up with this many people, and I want to add a new coach to my team. And they have that plan of action. They've reached out to me. I'm like, awesome, you can do it. And then at the end of the day, they'll write and they'll let me know how it went. Like, I think if you get in that habit, it will really help you on the day-to-day to get in the habits of going towards your goals. So, okay, so I know, I think that's everything that I have for the goal setting part, but do you guys have anyone that is on have any questions when it comes to setting goals, or any specific goals that you might have in mind that you're unsure of? Like, any questions at all?
So I'm more of a very, I don't really put myself out there, but I'm a teacher. So I do a lot of things during the day, but then when I come home, it's kind of hard to reach out to different people. And so, like, a goal for me would to do that, to kind of put myself out there. And is that a big enough goal?
Well, first, Leah, you're on the call, and I think what you've already done by taking the first step of becoming a coach is putting yourself out there. So you should be pretty proud of the fact that you did step out of, maybe that might be a comfort zone of yours. So I think you already took that very first step of, because I think sometimes the hardest part is people just deciding to do something to like take that first step. So the first step is hardest. What I would suggest is your goal of putting yourself out there. So I think there definitely can be a lot of fear in the beginning of reaching out to people, because there's fears of rejection. What if they tell me I'm crazy? What if they say no? What if they don't even respond and they ignore me? Like all these fears are in your mind. The best advice I could tell you, and this worked for me too, because when I first started my first few days, like I went through the same process. And I mean, I had success in other businesses and stuff like that, but we all have head stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I don't know if I want to put myself out there in social media and all this stuff. But the faster you take action, the faster the fear will go away. So the fear will grow and it will get scarier and scarier. I'm saying this from experience. Every day it'll feel harder and it'll feel like a burden and like, oh my gosh, like I'm sweating, I don't even want to send this message. Like it'll seem so scary the longer you take to take action. The second thing would be, if you've created your contact list, sometimes it can be daunting to look at the whole list of 100 people and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to begin. So what I would suggest, like Z had said on the first call, is have your dirt list, your friends and family that you feel like would be there to help you no matter what. And what I did in the beginning is I broke my list down into 10. So I think for me, it was harder to not do anything in the morning, go to work, because I was working corporate when I first started. So if I didn't do anything Beachbody related and I went to work, when I got home, like I would put it off. I'm like, oh, I have to like invite people. And like, I don't know, it's a lot harder to like do it. So what I learned is if I woke up 30 minutes earlier and it only took me, no joke, maybe 15 minutes, I would send 10 messages in the beginning of the day. I would just send out 10 invites. That's it. I would just send them out, and we have scripts, so we can, if you don't have them, they're probably on the page in the files. So I just copied it, I tweaked it, and I'd send out 10 messages. Took me 15 minutes. And then I didn't respond to the messages during the day, because in my mind, I'm like, I'm sending these. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to work. And then when I get done with work, I set aside an hour to respond. Now, it was way more exciting to me when I would get done with work to know that I had people like, oh yeah, tell me more. Like that I didn't put off, but I put off that initial like invite because it was scary. So for me, if I could just eat the frog, meaning like just do it first thing in the day. And then also, instead of looking at my list of 100, I just did 10 a day. And that's literally all I did in the beginning, is I just did 10, sent it out, and then at the night I would follow up, and that's it. Does that help?
Yeah. It's really out of my comfort zone. And like the 100 list is where to start, and I need to start on that. I'll say I haven't started on it yet. It's been a busy week. But I got the You Are a Badass book. I'm going to start reading that. It just came in today. And there was another book or a notebook or something, and I wasn't sure what that was.
Brain book?
Yeah.
Okay. So for your list, by the way, I would say sometimes it takes us a little while to make our list because we make it this like super complicated. Like we overthink every person. We're like, well, I don't know. She's going to say yes? Does she like fitness? Does she even go to the gym? Like she can think I'm weird. Like we just overthink every single person. So what I would say is just make a list as if you're making a wedding list, and like write down every single person that you know. Like don't prejudge. Don't even worry, because it is all shapes and sizes can get healthy. Like, it doesn't matter. Like everyone, so many girls, especially when you reach out to them, we're like, like girls always think about like, oh, I need to lose 5 pounds. Like that's pretty normal. So Brain book, I actually have mine right here. So this is from Target, and it's just a notebook.
Okay.
And then I have tabs, and Z talks about it on the first training. Mm-hmm. And then there's tabs. So every day make my list. Like for you would make your list of the 10 people. Just literally make your list and just start with 10. And make it to 100. But then, like I said, like for tomorrow, make a list of the first 10 people that come to your mind. And again, don't worry, like are they gonna, like, you don't really have any idea what they're gonna say until you ask. And the first few messages you send, you might be like, oh my gosh, I don't want to hit the send, but just do it. Just do it and put your phone down. Like, I would literally just like send. And then I just like put my phone away. I'm like, I don't even want to know. Like, I was like really nervous, but it will get way easier once you do it. And then once you do it, you'll be like, why did I make this seem so crazily, you know, like action, I promise, will cure the fear. Oh yeah, okay, so Z just said, making a goal of putting yourself out there is fine if you make it a SMART goal. So don't just say, like, you want to, I think we actually just covered this. She might have wrote it before I was answering your question. But basically what she's saying is, instead of just saying like, I want to put myself out there, make it specific of, okay, every day, what is your goal? Like, do I want to reach out to 5 people a day, 10 people a day? Like, give yourself a really specific goal rather than like, I just want to put myself out there, because it'll seem scary. But if it's specific and you can write it down, then you can check it off. And you got to give your brain wins. Like, it'll make you feel like you're accomplishing things.
Okay.
So just a day at a time. Don't think like too far in advance.
Yeah.
But that's a good book. I think it's a perfect book for you.
I don't think I have any more questions as of right now.
Okay, awesome. Well, if you do, I know Janelle or we can definitely help you out. But I mean, you're plugging in, you're doing the things that will make you successful. So it's like, the next step is to take all this that you're learning and set a goal for tomorrow and post it on the page. So set your like overall goals, post it on the page, but then also one thing that if I'm putting something off and I'm like afraid to do it, if I again post it on a page, like on our challenge group was like, hey guys, my goal is to wake up at this, you know, time each day and have my workout done before 8. Like, I put it out there. So now, like, I'm probably gonna make sure it happens because I've just told like 30 people what I'm gonna do.
Right.
So think about what you want and then put it up there, and then we'll definitely support you, and you're gonna do fine. It's fun.
Okay. I'm trying.
All right. Well, have a good evening.
You too.
Bye, you guys. Bye, Jen.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.